Africa's rapidly evolving digital payment landscape offers opportunities and challenges for businesses. Now, adapting to this diverse and innovative ecosystem is crucial for successful cross-border commerce. Now, the varied nature of African markets requires a strategy tailored to respect each country's unique aspects. We're not all the same. Businesses can leverage the opportunity by embracing local preferences and innovative payment methods. Now, the growth in mobile networks and the availability of affordable smartphones are driving a revolution in digital payments across Africa. And one of those revolutionaries is Network International, which is a player in that digital payment space. Taking a look at some of their metrics as the company has grown, the footprint across 60 MEA markets, Middle East, Africa markets, supporting over 250 banks, financial institutions, and mobile network operators, supporting over 150,000 merchants, from processing over 2.5 billion transactions worth over $100 billion. And we're happy to have Dr. Reda Helal, Group Managing Director of Processing Business Africa and co-head of Group Processing for Network International, who is with us now. It's good to see you again, sir.
Likewise.
Good morning to you.
Good morning to you. Good morning.
So look, we talked a lot last time you were here.
Yes.
We're going to follow up on the conversation.
Absolutely.
You guys, you've been doing it in the payment space. So update us. What is the latest in how you've been innovating?
Let me start with some of the statistics that we have seen on the screen here.
Yeah.
Actually, it's 3 billion in terms of the transaction.
So it's gone up.
Yes, and we are talking about over $100 billion. That is from volume perspective, but also from the number of merchants, we are talking about over 150,000 merchants that we are supporting.
We're going to update that there. We're going to update that.
Absolutely, 250 banks. So
Yeah.
when we started earlier this year, when we had the first conversation, we were talking about the expansion plan.
Yes.
What we are doing to hydrate and support the digital payment evolution across Middle East and Africa, with the focus on Africa in our discussion today. And actually, we will talk about what we have done in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Since we last met, we have done a couple of exciting announcements. First of all, we have committed to ensure that we are bringing the latest digital payment enablers to Nigeria.
Fantastic.
We have delivered.
Yeah.
2 months back, we have announced that we are live with Network One, which is the latest technology enablers that has all the solutions, including all the innovative solutions that we'll speak about, and also safety and security, advisory, and data analytics. But also we have done more of that across Africa. So I'm talking about what we have done in Egypt, what we have done in Morocco, what we have done in South Africa, Francophone, across, pretty much. So lots of development. We'll cover part of it today, but absolutely, we have done a lot during the course of this week.
Fantastic. All right, well, let's start. Should we start with Network One here in Nigeria? Or where would you like to begin?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And look, we have been here for over 20 years. Today, we are supporting over 21 banks out of the 27.
Really?
But we were focused on the conventional bank only. From last year, we have updated our go-to-market plan to ensure that we are in a relevant position to the evolution of the digital payments here. So we have ventured into the digital and neobanks. We also supported the fintechs, but recently we have been focused on the telco operators, the MNOs.
Yeah.
And the reason is, if you see what happened over the last few years, from the number of accounts related to the mobile money, it's absolutely surged. You are talking about over 300 million mobile money subscribers across Africa today.
That's huge.
This is way above the conventional bank accounts that you have collectively. This is the first data point. Secondly, the nature of the mobile user is different from the bank user.
That's true. Yes.
So you need to ensure that the solutions are relevant.
Tailored to each one.
100%.
Right.
100%. So we are venturing into two aspects. Pretty much, what is our role? Connecting sellers and buyers in a digital way. Cash is a form of payment to exchange value. So from that perspective, what we are doing, we are making it more efficient, seamless, frictionless through bringing it to the digital channels. From an issuer perspective, what we have done, we have introduced the digital tokens, virtual cards. Also, we have learned from what we have been through during the COVID, because the supply chain impacted the delivery of the plastic. So we ventured into the physical card, and also from the tokenization of anything, whatever store of value that you can tokenize, we have been doing that. And we are at a final stage right now to bring also the data lakes, in which that will support the rapid decision-making process that banks, financial institutions, fintech, and telco operators require to enhance the customer experience of their consumers.
Okay, so speaking of the customer experience, well, so what about this Network One here in Nigeria? How does that work?
Brilliant. So Network One, you see it as orchestration layer.
Yeah.
So it has the table stake as we call it. This is the foundation. So you are talking about everything related to the technology, the platform. In the last 5 years, we have been one of the most resilient digital payment provider across Middle East and Africa. So from a switching perspective, our uptime, all of these, this is table stake. Now the consumer expects when they are going and using their card or using their digital wallet, it will go through. Okay. This is the minimum expectation right now. So they take it for granted. We are happy for that. Why? Because remember when we spoke last time, we are talking about customer experience, but also the safety and security of the platform itself. So you are providing the solution in a safe and secure way, but also we are bringing the latest innovative solution into the ecosystem, whether from an issuer perspective or also from the point of acceptance, which we'll touch upon with.
I was about to ask you about that. I thought it was a cell phone.
Yeah,
right.
It looks like, right?
Yeah.
It looks like. So when we are talking about banks, financial institutions, telco operators, fintech, microfinance, they are usually focused in the issuing part, but also the other part, you need to find a place where you can accept the digital payment tool.
Right.
This is the whole point of creating the value chain, the ecosystem. So previously, when you go to any hotel or any restaurant here in Lagos, you will find the normal POS machine. It's costly, it takes time, and also from reliability perspective. What we have done, we have been developing our application and our POS estate over the last couple of years. We have produced a couple of proprietary softwares that resides on this, but this is the latest one. And the beauty of this is you have the same look and feel of a mobile phone, more convenient. So this will be relevant for even the delivery, number one. You have the NFC, which will enable you to tap and go. So frictionless, you don't need to use any interaction or touching point. And also you have here the camera, which you can see will enable the QR code. So from an acceptance perspective, any form of payment right now will be accepted and supported by this, I would say, beautiful device.
Are these in supermarkets?
Not yet. Not yet. This is the latest. So you are the first person to see it in Nigeria today.
So you've made some history today.
100%. 100%.
Fantastic. Now, you mentioned expanding. What about the expansion plans?
Yes. So we focused on two key areas, technology and talents, right? Technology, no matter what you do, absolutely, it has to be resilient, safe, and secure with the latest solution, but you need to have the right talent to operate and provide the customer experience. So the customer experience part, which you have started with, we run a survey every year to understand how customers perceive us, because we can think about ourselves as that we are the greatest.
Right.
But unless clients tell us that, we need to take that into consideration also to become better. So from that perspective, I'm glad to tell you, because of all the activities that we have been doing over the last 2 years, this year, record-breaking Net Promoter Score or customer satisfaction survey. It is the highest ever. So clients have perceived us as the most resilient, efficient digital payment player, and our expertise are absolutely. Thank you very much. So whatever we are doing, I believe, back to the point that we were discussing earlier on this year, whatever we are doing because it is driven by our client. So it has to be relevant to them. That's why the checkpoints to understand what we are doing continues to be relevant to our client, and it is driven by the market trend, but also add value both ways, both to the consumer as well as to the businesses and the banks.
Fantastic. Now, what you mentioned, last time we spoke, you said there were some promises you made, right?
Yes.
And you delivered on those promises,
100%.
Share some.
So I'll tell you, previously we used to have an office that can accommodate tens of our colleagues here in Lagos. We have upgraded that. We have got, I would say, state-of-the-art facility right now. That is here, not far from where we are.
Speaking my language, state-of-the-art.
100%, 100%, the latest and greatest. We equipped it with learning and development center, training, everything to equip our colleagues here. So this is from a facility infrastructure perspective, similar to what we spoke about from the digital payment platform. But more importantly, the talent. We agreed last time that we will continue to rely and expand on the local talent that we have
Nigerian talent.
100%. I am the only non-Nigerian that comes and ensures that they are getting the required support from the top of the house. Right? Because at the end of the day, our job to be here, and thanks for hosting us again,
of course,
is absolutely to ensure that the local talent, the regional teams are getting whatever required to enhance the customer experience, to make sure that they are fully equipped and empowered to deliver what we perceive is what we owe to our clients.
Right.
So from that perspective, number of colleagues that here in Nigeria today have doubled from last time that we have met. Not only that, we are relying on our Nigerian colleagues to support the regional expansion plan, some in West Africa, but also in Francophone.
So you're doing more expansion?
100%.
Wow, this is really ambitious stuff.
100%.
By the way, I wanted to ask you, this interview is very timely because there's what they call the IJGBs. I just got back. So there's a number of diaspora Nigerians who will be coming home to party, go to restaurants, go to hotels, and
Christmas
so on.
Holidays.
Christmas holidays.
Yes.
So, talk about your network being able to handle more volumes.
Absolutely. And look, we have been in this for a lot of years. So we have seen the seasonalities that you are referring to in terms of we are expecting a lot of transaction, a lot of card issuance, and a lot of acceptance points to be in the market. We are equipped. We are working very closely with our clients from the previous couple of weeks or so to ensure that everything will cater for the surge that we see during the holiday season, whether from an issuance perspective to issue more credential to our consumers, but also to enable the direct merchant acquirer banks that we are supporting to have more point of interaction, whether face-to-face or from an e-commerce.
Fantastic. Talk to us about the collaborations you're having with, because whenever I think of network, I'm like, do I call network a fintech company, or you want to be known as a digital payment solution provider?
We are.
Yeah.
We are.
So what about the collaborations with the other your partners and so on and so forth?
Thank you very much for that. Look, last time we spoke about something very critical, and I believe yesterday we had a conference here in Lagos where it was attended by government officials, central bank, NIPS. The language everyone is convinced with today is collaboration. It has to be partnership, all the way. You cannot do everything great all by your own. You need to ensure that, and we are doing it right now. So from safety and security, we have created a strategic partnership with the most, I would say, AI and data-driven fraud prevention tool in the world to be included in our solution. From loyalty perspective and the gamification, we have done the same. From all of the stuff on the acceptance as well, all the application. Our role is to complement the ecosystem. So complementing the ecosystem determine the way you need to operate. Whether we are talking here some can perceive us as competitor, but I believe over the last few months we have even had discussion with what would be perceived as our competitor to create more room for collaboration. So there is a lot to be done here, and our focus is not at the existing value chain. Because remember, Africa altogether, Nigeria and Egypt is a little bit advanced in some aspect, and I will come to that because of some of the use cases we have seen. But you still have a lot of cash dependent.
Right.
What we need to do, we need to focus on how we can create a seamless, frictionless customer experience to encourage more citizens to come to the digital payment economy. And guess what? You are talking about the GDP of developing economies. 2025 will be impacted positively by $470 billion by transforming cash to cashless. It varies from mature markets to more developing markets. But if you are reflecting here in Nigeria, you can create that across three main stakeholders. From business perspective, the highest number will be, you are talking about 60% beneficial. And we are talking about the government as well, because transparency, but also ensuring that the subsidies that the government might provide is transparent, efficient, and seamless. But also the consumer will benefit from that, from the cost-efficient and frictionless experience. So you are providing better experience, more cost-efficient, cheaper, faster, and better.
You've covered all bases. You covered all bases. I got to quickly ask you about 2025, how you see the trends evolving and how you guys are positioning yourself to, for what to expect next year and beyond.
Multiple key takeaways from the last couple of years to start with, but I'll focus on 2 to 3 aspects. Number one, everyone, collaboration and partnership you spoke about. Mm-hmm. I believe that requires the open banking implementation. And if we are talking about open banking today, 4 countries across Africa are promoting that, including Nigeria. Yeah. Nigeria, South Africa, and Egypt. This is number one. Number two, we are talking about what else we can provide to the ecosystem. Guess what? Domestication of the transaction.
That makes sense.
So we are working closely with the regulatory bodies to ensure that we are abiding by the local regulators wherever we operate. But what we have seen, digital payments gets initiated and completed in most cases 90% within the border of a certain country. So why do we need to focus more on domestic scheme? I have 2 use cases that we have seen. One in Saudi through MISA, so central bank, SAMA, Saudi Arabia Central Bank, have created over the last couple of years a fantastic use case to the transformation in which you have seen moving from cash to cashless within 4 years from 17% to 65%. Egypt has done the same through their domestic scheme. It's called MISA. They have moved over the last 4 years from 16% cash to financial included over 65%.
That is impressive.
And if you focus on Nigeria, Nigeria is almost double the number of population compared to Egypt. Egypt is like 100 plus, Nigeria is 200 plus million citizens, right? So the scale is totally different. Yesterday we were talking about AfriGo as the new domestic scheme that will enable the ecosystem to thrive. It will create more and better and cheaper, cost-efficient solution to enable the consumers and the citizens to come into the digital payment space.
Fantastic stuff. You guys you're making strides. It was great to have you come here and update us on what you're doing. I'm going to have you back again in the near future.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining us. Dr. Reda Helal, of course, the Group Managing Director, Processing Business Africa, and Co-Head of Group Processing for Network International. Thank you so much for joining us.
Appreciate
your time.
Thanks for having me.